Hello and welcome, my friends. Today I have something special for you. A Yubel Deck Profile. Yubel has been my favorite card in the entire TCG game for decades now. I mean, kinda till, Lulu came out, but now Yubel has support. You have already seen some decks, and I've cooked up something somewhat special for you guys. Hope you're going to enjoy it. I'm going to go right into the list now.
Okay guys, let's finally get into it. Yubel, man, it is just my favorite card. It's my baby. I mean, just look at this. Absolutely gorgeous. Let's get right into the deck profile with this super great mat that we also get here in the TCG. Yubel, Terra Incarnate, and Nightmare. You can't miss all of them. Right now I see people cutting at least the Ultimate Nightmare, and to be fair, obviously these are a bit unfortunate if they land in your hand, but they're absolutely based, and there's a specific combo that I'm going to show you at the end where you actually need the Ultimate Nightmare as well. They're going to get better with the upcoming support, but for now we play the 3 original Yubels and also 3 Spirit of Yubel. Not much to add. It is just an amazing card that does so much for the deck, much needed support with this finally realized. Then obviously also 3 Samsara D Lotus. In case you don't know, the D stands for Demon. Maybe this is a one-piece spoiler, who knows? But obviously this card is the key normal summon for the pure Yubel strategies. And then we come to some miscellaneous cards like the Geistgrinder Golem here. Not the best, and maybe at some point it will be cuttable, but it's just 3 special summons for us, right? It's not only a card that we can attack into, but it also allows us to special summon cards from our hand. Right, Geistgrinder Golem and Spirit of Yubel, for example, is a very interesting, very short combo to facilitate tons of damage being done. So it is still a very neat card, but not the best, so only one is needed. Then I might get a lot of flack for this. I'm only playing 2 Nightmare Pains so far. Nightmare Pain is one of our key cards, obviously, but we have many ways to search it. And whereas other cards can be nice discards, can be destroyed in our hand by Nightmare Pain, having multiple of them in hand, overall, always not the best feeling. And as such, I think 2 is completely fine right now. Then 2 other continuous cards, the Mature Chronicles and the Eternal Favorite. Eternal Favorite, obviously very much needed. It is the searchable Super Poly, and Mature Chronicles is, well, searching Super Poly as well, and it can be a combo piece and specific hands and so on. So far these cards are very good, easy to search, just like the thing with Nightmare Pain, so we don't need many more of them. And again, you don't want to see too many of these cards without ways to start your plays. Ways to start our plays are, for example, the Beckoning Beast and Opening of the Spirit Gates. Very useful cards, obviously from a very closely related archetype, right? And the synergy is amazing. You probably know about this, and I'm going to show you more how this is just absolute gas in our Yubel strategy here. Another group of friends that is supporting Yubel in her adventures are the Unchained cards. I'm playing a very small one. I guess you could play even smaller engines here, but Red Dog, Blue Dog, Shyama, and Sharvara. And then I'm playing 2 traps. You could also only play the chamber, but actually seeing one of these traps in hand is not the worst thing you can encounter. There are builds where you're playing a 3rd Unchained card in your deck, or rather a 3rd monster, and I like these lists, so I will look into that in the future. But with the upcoming support, space in our deck is getting smaller and smaller, so so far this small, maybe even smaller Unchained package is just really great. It facilitates so much more plays, and really the destruction effects really help with our Yubel strategy. Another neat little thing that we can do is to play a tour guide of the Underworld package with the Fiendish Rino Warrior. This one will give us immediate access into the Unchained engine, and with that obviously we can go ham. It is another normal summon, and that can be a bit of an issue, but specific hands do end up on insane boards with this little combo here. And so far we have the space and so far I've found great joy in using these cards for our Yubel plays. Next we're playing a pretty generic card here, the Piri Rice Mat. Obviously it has a decent amount of search power, right? It can add us the Samsara D Lotus, or alternatively the Beckoning Beast, with whom we can obviously kickstart our combos. The price to pay all your life is a bit harsh, and again, in the future, this is also one of the cards that might get cut down to 2, or maybe cut out entirely. Right now we need more ways to see our starters, and the Piri Rice map will lead us to that. Now this deck is pretty good going first and second, right? Attacking into opposing monsters with Nightmare Pain, or using Super Poly, just great. Also setting up stuff with the Eternal Favorite for our opponent to play around. Pretty decent, but now let's find more ways to really play around these pesky boards that we can see. And for that, I've got a bit inspired by the Yubel Master, and we're playing a very small, right, 4 cards Nadir, or rather Dogmatika package, right? We're going to talk about it a bit more in the extra deck, but again, Yubel doesn't need a lot of extra deck space, right? We have the Unchained cards that also just don't need too much space in the extra deck, so we have the capacity to play this Nadir package here, which will allow us to really annoy our opponent, right? Getting into their extra deck, getting their key cards out, and also obviously using the destruction effects that we will talk about later. And obviously another card that can't be missed in this deck is 3 Super Polies. It is just the bread and butter. People are complaining about this card all the time. They need to shut up because it is just great. We're going to fuse the board away and make our beloved defender, and a card that we can't miss, and obviously we play 3 of it. Now some of these cards are considered a non-engine in some other decks, and obviously also have board breaking capabilities. But now let's go into the 8 remaining cards that I elected as non-engine for this deck. And obviously, fire decks are a bit of an issue, and in theory, if you're really desperate, you could play cards like Shifter, but I'm not that desperate. We're just making a fun little list, and so far we're playing Nibiru here. Nibiru obviously decently good. Fire decks can play around it, so we need to play some other hand traps. I'm playing 1 Ghost Belle, obviously inside and outside you can do something else. It's just about diversing your hand traps here, and I had space for 1 off, so I thought Ghost Belle was quite decent. Then another hand trap we're playing is the Infinite Impermanence. Again, very small hand traps here directly, because we don't mind too much our opponent building up boards. They're just a bit of a threat so that our opponents don't get too cocky. Then we play 2 Tactics and then 1 Cold Buy. This is again a very small non-engine package that I'm running here to just slap our opponent a bit. Our deck in general is pretty good destroying and answering our plays. I mean, we're main decking Super Poly and our deck is based around that, so we are not really too scared with our opponent going ham, but maybe they shouldn't go too ham, because then the rock comes down. And again, it's just like with Mikanko, by the way. Nibiru building a big rock on our opponent's side to attack into is just another great way to OTK. Now we come into the extra deck, and now obviously we're playing the one and only Loving Defender Forever. Right now I'm still on budget, right? Only 1 QCR, but so far so good. Obviously 2 is not needed, but it's good that you have the 1 backup, right? Usually 1 is fine, so if you can only afford 1 QCR just like me, then that is all that really matters. Then, because we're a Super Poly deck, we have some Super Poly cards like Garura and the Mud Dragon, and that usually is about it, right? Because obviously Yubel, if you have a Yubel monster, is completely generic, so cards like Draco Sepelia and whatever else really not needed most of the time, right? These answer most boards, and if we have Yubel, this one is always the best option anyway. Now the last fusion is we're playing the Elder Entity Entis, obviously part of the Nadir package, which obviously allows us to destroy our opponent's cards or our own if we want to do just that, which in this deck is usually profitable. Coming into the Xyz, we're playing the rank 6 DDD High Wave King Caesar or something like that. Obviously our go-to card with our dogs. Then for the easy OTK, the Super Cannon, obviously it's part of some interesting strategies, right? The Geistgrinder Golem, for example, is 3000. So if we have that on our opponent's field, and with its effect we have gotten access to 2 of our Yubel monsters, with Nightmare Pain we attack into it, deal 6000 damage, and then overlay our conveniently both level 10 monsters into the Super Cannon, and we're going to burn the remaining 2000. So just for OTKs, pretty neat card. Then again we have the space, so a Typhoon if we are getting cucked, or if we have for some reason trouble playing through some boards. And then because we're running some Xyz, I'm running the Zeus. Again, we have so much space. If you don't have these cards, right, these two, obviously they're good, but if you don't have them, well, just find something else that you like. Then coming into the links, another key component of the deck. Obviously we're playing Shyama. I'm thinking of maybe even playing 2 of them. So far one has always been enough, but I will have to see. Then another key card, the Unchained Soul of Rage. Absolutely amazing. This is one of our typical endboard cards that we play around. With it we can look into going into Abomination, but this is another card that comes up very rarely. So if you don't have it, or if you have a better idea for extra deck space, this is cuttable, and then you can play something else. A card that is not cuttable and that is very much needed for some combos is the Mudcracker. It's just amazing synergy with your overall Yubels and Unchained cards, which again is the heart of this deck so far. And then a card that sadly is just too good. Again, if you don't have it, you don't have it. You need to find something else that you can go into with the Unchained Soul of Rage. Usually going Unchained into SP is the best way to really hit our opponent in the face. But again, if you don't have it, then you can look into cards like Avermax, which is cheaper, into Unicorn, which is ultra cheap. Obviously they're not exactly the same, but you can look into all kinds of different ways to make use of the Unchained Soul of Rage without the SP Little Knight. And then another card related to the Nadir engine is our Synchro. We have no ways to make this card, but it has a really interesting effect if it's sent to the graveyard, which is obviously the idea of our Nadir Servant and Maximus package. It can crystallize opponents' cards, and if you don't know what crystallize means, it puts them into the spell and trap zone, which is a very unique way to remove problematic cards from the field, because they're not destroyed, they're not sent to the graveyard. That's just an interesting way. Sadly, against Snake Eye cards, they still can profit from that, but against other decks, it's pretty neat and pretty helpful. Just another tech from the Yubel Master. And that rounds up the deck profile. Now I'm going to show you some bread and butter combos that you ought to know if you're playing your Yubel deck. Okay, my friends, now I'm going to show you 3 key combos that this deck can do. I think 2 of them are very widely known, but for completion's sakes we're going to show them anyway. So first obviously is the very clean and smooth combo of normal summon Samsara D Lotus and then tribute summoning it itself to summon the Spirit of Yubel. With Spirit of Yubel you're obviously going to add the Nightmare Pain, or rather you're going to set it and then activate it. Nightmare Pain is going to destroy the Spirit of Yubel. With that you're getting access to the Eternal Favorite trap that you can set, and the Spirit of Yubel summons the original Yubel. Now in the end phase, Samsara D Lotus is going to respawn, you're going to tribute it for Yubel's cost, and that's going to be the end of your turn, right? Yubel obviously strong and pretty good, and then obviously buffed with Nightmare Pain. Their opponent built their board, you're going to activate Eternal Favorite, and you're going to, fuse away into the Loving Defender Forever. And that's going to be it, right? You have 4 cards left in hand to build upon this strategy at this point. And another well-known combo is obviously using the Dark Beckoning Beast and Samsara D Lotus to end on quite a bit of a better board. Let me show you how it goes. You're going to normal summon the Dark Beckoning Beast, you're going to use its effect to search the opening of the Spirit Gates, which are you going to activate, and with its effect you are going to add another Dark Beckoning Beast, a valuable discard later on. Then we put that for the side for now. We're going to get into the normal summon of our Samsara D Lotus, which is going to tribute itself to special summon, just like in the first line, the Spirit of Yubel, which then is going to give us access to Nightmare Pain, which in this case we're going to set, right? It's not going to be activated, it's going to set the card, right? That's pretty important. Now with these two, we're going to link them away into the Unchained Lord Shyama. Shyama is going to activate its effect and it's going to add us the red dog to our hand. Obviously the red dog meaning Sharvara, right? Then we're going to use Sharvara's effect, destroy our set card, which is the Nightmare Pain, to special summon. Then we're going to use the next effect of the opening of the Spirit Gates, discarding our Beckoning Beast that we searched, to summon back a Fiend with the 0/0, obviously in this case the Spirit of Yubel. Then we're going to use the next effect of the opening of the Spirit Gates to add back a spell card, or rather a continuous spell card, right? Very important, which is going to be the Nightmare Pain. We're not going to activate it immediately because we're going to use these two Unchained cards to make the big blue dog the Unchained Soul of Rage. Now with this we have Unchained cards in our graveyard, which is going to trigger Sharvara's effect. If it's sent from field to grave, we can set one of the traps. In this case it doesn't really matter, we're going to set the chamber. Now we're going to use the effect of Nightmare Pain to activate it and destroy the Spirit of Yubel to search the Eternal Favor to our hand, which is also going to trigger the effect of the Spirit of Yubel to summon out the original Yubel. Now, because a card was destroyed, we can activate the effect of Shyama in our graveyard to banish itself to summon back a Fiend, in this case Sharvara. Then we're going to destroy a card. In this case we're going to destroy the trap card that Sharvara set. And now the chamber here, if it's destroyed, will allow us to summon the blue dog from our deck, Shyama in this case of course. And now we're coming to the end of our, combo. We're going to set the Eternal Favorite. I'm going to do it face up of course here now so you can see. We're overlaying both of our dogs here to go into the DDD Wave High King Caesar or something like that. Okay, we're going into the end phase and Samsara D Lotus is going to revive itself. And we're obviously going to pay the cost of Yubel to send it into the graveyard once more to obviously keep Yubel on board. So now this is our end board. We have the, a bit hard to see, but this is still the Unchained Soul of Rage, which is obviously a super link effect, right? We're going to link summon in our opponent's turn with their monsters. And like our two options are obviously the Abomination, if we allow them to link climb into a link 2 monster, or we're just going to into the effective and easy to make SP Little Knight, which is going to be a few more interruptions to come, which is obviously the key thing that we can get here with the Rage. Then we have the DDD here. Obviously the cool thing about this card, it's not once per turn, so we can actually use both material here that is attached to him and negate 2 special summon effects in our opponent's turn, so maybe they aren't even getting to anything that we need to super link away. And even if through all of this they are building a board, we have Eternal Favorite and Yubel, which will get us the Yubel, the Loving Defender forever, obviously as well. And while we obviously still have Nightmare Pain, so they try to build something up, we're negating it. If they've built something up, we're link summoning away with it, then we can banish it. And if they still build a board, we're going to super poly it away with the Eternal Favorite into our boss monster. So yeah, this is the bread and butter combo that most of you probably know. But yeah, this is just what it ends up on right now before the next wave of support finally hits us here in the West. So now I'm going to show you the third and maybe a bit special combo. It revolves around the normal summon of Tour Guide of the Underworld, which is a bit tricky, right? Because this deck is very normal summon reliant, so having another normal summon like the Tour Guide is a bit iffy. But it's going to get better with the new waves of support. And yeah, it also needs 2 specific other cards in your hand. for the full extent and the full-on banger of this combo, right? If you have other extenders and other ways to play around it, it's just going to be not as explosive as this, what I'm going to show you now. But yeah, Tour Guide just gives you immediate access to your entire Unchained package, which is obviously a positive thing. Let me just show you how it goes. Normal summon the Tour Guide of the Underworld, and then obviously with its effect, we're going to summon the Fiendish Rhino Warrior. These two are going to be linked away into the, where is he? The Shyama. And then we have the effect of Shyama and the Rhino, which are going to give us access to the Unchained. We're going to get one into our hand. That's going to be the red dog, Sharvara. And then we're going to mill Shyama. And yeah, that's just immediate access. Both dogs are exactly where they want to be. One in grave, one in hand. Immediately, we're happy with this. So let's continue with the Yubel part. Nightmare Pain is going to be activated, and we're going to destroy the Yubel, or rather the Spirit of Yubel, in hand to use the effect. And yeah, we can search any Yubel card. So usually we're going to search Eternal Favorite with this, but in this case we're actually going to search the Samsara D Lotus. Yeah, just pretty nice. So now, with that being the case, we also activate the effect of Spirit of Yubel to get a Yubel on board. Now, if that is not amazing, I don't know what is. We're going to use the effect of Sharvara to destroy the Yubel to summon, which is obviously going to activate Yubel's effect, and we're getting Terror Incarnate. Lovely. Then we're going to use our two Unchained cards here to make a different kind of friends. We're going to make Mudcracker. Mudcracker from the Underworld, an amazing card that works really well with this deck, as you can imagine. So now, since we've summoned Mudcracker, great, but we also need to activate the effect of Sharvara, setting up one of the Unchained cards, or rather the Unchained traps, right? We're going to set that. Then we're going to activate the Mudcracker effect. Hard to see. Yes, we're going to discard our D Lotus. That's how this guy gets into the grave. And with that effect, we're going to special summon, the red dog. Sharvara comes back. We're going to use the effect of our blue dog, destroying the Terror Incarnate to summon itself back, which obviously will trigger the ultimate nightmare to grace us with their presence. Then, because we have used a destruction-based effect, we can use Shyama and obviously banish itself to summon back the Spirit of Yubel as a special summon. Very nice. And then with Shyama bringing back the Spirit of Yubel, we also get to destroy our trap. In this case, we have our entire Unchained cards on field. Sadly, there is no target for the effect here to summon something, but if you play a bigger Unchained package, you would get another monster on board now with the destruction of the trap. Spirit of Yubel was special summoned, so we can immediately set the Eternal Favorite, having access to our Super Poly and the Yubel Loving Defender, of course. Now we just need to tidy things up. We're going to overlay both of the dogs, and we're going into the DDD monster again. And then lastly, we can use the Mudcracker and the Spirit of Yubel to make the, the Unchained Soul of Rage, setting up the field zone as well for the added flex. And then in our end phase, we're going to get the Samsara D Lotus back as well. Now this field is similar, but quite better than the one we managed to do before. You see the increase of board capability from 1 card, 2 card, and now 3 card combo. We have the Samsara D Lotus, which is obviously going to use its interesting effect to try to destroy a Yubel monster, which in this case, sadly, we're not profiting from it, right? Usually if this effect is used to destroy a Spirit of Yubel, a Terror Incarnate, or the original Yubel, you're getting some sort of profit. Here, if they try to destroy our Ultimate Nightmare, that's not that amazing for us. But we obviously can make use this effect later on. We still have the Eternal Favorite that can fuse into the Ever-Loving Defender with the Ultimate Nightmare, which in itself is obviously a bit of a better monster compared to the original Yubel. We still have the Caesar with 2 material, we have the Rage, the Nightmare Pain, we have many things similar to before, right? In case you don't remember, we're going to usually just go into the SP Little Knight with our Rage here. So we have a bunch of disruptions here, and again, this combo based around the Tour Guide of the Underworld is only going to get better in the near future with the upcoming support.
Well, what do you think? Obviously, we have Yubel with a few friends. Obviously, yeah, you just saw it. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Shout out to 38 Yubel Master 1, I think is the exact name on YouTube. Another small content creator, and obviously, as you see in the name, he knows Yubel decks quite well. I've chatted up with him a bit in his comment sections. You can check out his deck profiles, and he has a lot more Yubel content. Highly can recommend that channel. So yeah, after you've watched this video, maybe go over to his channel and yeah, check it out. Probably some good content, more to learn if you're interested in Yubel decks. But now we're going to see each other next time with more deck profiles, test hands, and all that good content. So smack that subscribe button, how we're going to smack our opponents with that super poly hit. And that's going to be it for today. See you next time. Bye bye.